I have for you this morning an original tune. Feet planted firmly, sunk into the sand, trapped in my practice of staying small, pushing with all my might, hands against the wall, cornered by my expectation of it all. Open to the vision next for me. Open up the door and let me see the map that lights my path from here to there, where I breathe you. Fill me deeper, make me stronger, fly me higher, build me taller, set me free, let me fly. It's time to fly. Let me free fall into service. Let me dance into my work. I rejoice in every moment when I breathe you. Fill me deeper, make me stronger, fly me higher, build me taller, set me free, let me fly. It's time to fly. Fill me deeper, make me stronger, fly me higher, build me taller, set me free. It's time to fly. My path is lit and I have vision. Every thought begins with love, love, love. Inspiration drives my passion when I breathe you. Fill me deeper, make me stronger, fly me higher, build me taller, set me free, let me fly. It's time to fly. Oh, when I stop and start from right where I stand, take a deep breath in and let my world expand. Let the fear and worry fall away. Listen to that still small voice say, fill me deeper, make me stronger, fly me higher, build me taller, set me free, let me fly. It's time to fly. Fill me deeper, make me stronger, fly me higher, build me taller, set me free. It's time, oh, it's time to fly. Fill me deeper, oh, make me stronger, yeah, set me free. It's time, oh, it's time to fly. I can fly when I breathe you.
We're paving the way, I think. Preparing the way. See, I was wrong. We're preparing the way. So I want to start off with a quote by Ernest Holmes, and he is the founder of religious science, which is what we teach here. When a group of people come together with one accord and with one thought, a greater power is generated. This is not because the creative principles responds to a number of people more than it does to one, but because the combined faith of a group reaches a higher level of consciousness. Since the explosion of the first atom bomb, we have read about the possibility of a physical chain reaction that might destroy civilization as we understand it. There is another kind of energy that is even more important. This is the energy of faith, of affirmative prayer, and spiritual meditation. There is no reason to doubt that in a field of spiritual consciousness, a chain reaction could be created which would bless the world. And that's how we pave the way. We pave the way by spending time in consciousness, spending time, much like the ritual that we do at the beginning of the service, where we're looking down, we look out, and we look up. That is a spiritual practice that allows us to connect soul to soul, heart to heart, mind to mind with that one life that is God, that lives and breathes as it exists here uniquely as each one of you, every single one of you. And so to do that, having a spiritual practice should be like brushing your teeth. However, how many of you, it's the first thing that if you're busy, oh, I don't have time today. Okay, am I the only one that's going to raise my, oh, thank you. I was like, oh my God, am I in this alone? Maybe that's just me. You know, like if something's going on and I'm really busy and then I think, okay, well, I'll get this all done and then I'll find time for my spiritual practice. And if we looked at it like, if I was really busy, would I leave the house without brushing my teeth? Yeah, no. And spiritual practice is as important for the livelihood of your soul as brushing your teeth is for the livelihood of your gums and keeping your pearly whites, if you will. And so somebody asked me recently, well, what are your spiritual practices? So I'm going to share those with you, and you can, what I want you to know is my spiritual practices shift because I'll find something and go, oh, okay, I'm going to do that. However, I always do a spiritual practice, except when I don't, just to be honest. Okay, all day Saturday? Nope, did not do it. Today, fortunately, I'm here. So I have spiritual practice here because I started with Randy's meditation. Normally what I do is I start by I do 10 to 20 minutes, and I do that practice of putting my hands like this, putting them on my heart, and just sitting or laying down and being silent and doing that yoga breath because it brings my body into that direct connection of the vibration of the earth. And so if you don't do a meditation at all, do that for 5 minutes. You could do that. You can't do it at a stoplight because they don't last 5 minutes, although sometimes they feel like they do. But trust me, if you did this at a stoplight, you'd get horn honks. However, you could do it when you pull up here on a Sunday morning and think, wow, I didn't meditate today. I wasn't quiet. I think that's one of the things I liked about the meditation this morning. I love guided meditations because I have tinnitus, and so sitting in silence, it's never quiet for me. Anybody that has that experience knows what I'm talking about. There is this constant buzz that is going on Kyle's looking around like, what is that buzz? And yet other people can hear things that are at a really high-pitched sound that I can't hear at all. And so I like guided meditation, and yet I understand why it's important to just be still and be quiet. And so I've shifted from listening to a tonal meditation, if you will, where you hear tones of different things to take you into a deep state of relaxation, to just sitting and being silent. I love this practice. It had never dawned on me. I was in a group, and they had you do some pre-work, and it was in the pre-work, and I thought, I'm going to start doing that. So when I'm done with my meditation, I set a timer for 10 minutes, and I freeform everything I'm grateful for. I just start writing. I am so grateful. And I just write out things that dawn on me. It could be like, oh, I'm so grateful that I have this beautiful little electric fireplace sitting next to me that's keeping warm. I am so grateful I have this toasty robe I can be in. Maybe something huge happened and I'm grateful for that. Every day is different because I'm not looking back at things. I am just, if you've ever done the artist way, it's just being grateful, just getting everything out for 10 minutes that I'm grateful for. And then I write out affirmations. And I write out, I've divided my life into 10 little areas, and I write an affirmation for every single area. It could be something that I'm already experiencing. It could be something that hasn't happened yet, and yet I know it's going to happen, so I give it a date. For instance, I am celebrating today as I step on that scale and look down and I see 130 pounds. Woohoo! As of. And then I put a date and a time, right? So it's as if it's happened. We need to start doing that every day, by the way. I'm talking to Courtney. Little sidebar. So I do that. And then I read something, and I don't necessarily do that in the morning. I have a ritual in my home that includes my husband. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we make coffee, we go sit up on our porch, and we read. And that's usually where I read something spiritual. Now, everybody, or not everybody, some people might say, I don't have enough time to do that. Yeah, you do. You know, it's like looking at... Paul commented, I forget who it was we were watching on TV, and he was like, where does he find the time to do that? As we're sitting in front of the TV, watching somebody else, right? And I am the first person that will own my behind on my couch in front of my TV is my favorite place to be, right? However, if it takes away from my spiritual practice, maybe I should rethink where's my favorite place to be. Because that's comfortable, it's fun, it's entertaining. It is not going to help me reach any goal in my life unless I hear or see something that I can use. And that happens a lot, not a lot. It happens almost every Sunday when I watch CBS Sunday Morning. There is something there that I will see and think, oh, I have to write that down. That is really, charming or enlightening, or it speaks to how I would like to live my life, if you will. They have great human interest stories. I sound like a commercial for them. I guess I am. So my practices aren't for anybody else in the world except me. And they're for everybody else in the world. Because a better me makes a better world. And so I really want you to think about spiritual practices that fit into your life. I am fortunate. I get up really early in the morning. And so I have time to do my spiritual practices. Some people might say, I don't want to get up. I love this practice. I want you to think about this. And I want you to start doing this in your life. I want you to think about something that you say you can't do. I can't get up at 4:30 in the morning. I can't cook. I can't exercise. None of that is true. And so when you say that, I want you to shift it into, I won't get up at 4:30 in the morning. I won't exercise. What was my third one? And I won't cook. That's the truth. So it's taking 100% responsibility for the fact that you can do anything you want to. I can say I can't climb Mount Everest. The truth is, I could, and I won't. Number one is, I'm not interested. Have you seen that mountain? People die up there. Yeah, I won't climb Mount Everest. That's a better statement. And so it gives you ownership and it shifts the energy, because then you can look at it and go, I won't cook. Well, I proved myself wrong last night, and it was fun. There were a lot of laughs. I burned myself a couple times. Thank you, Bernie. Room for improvement. Things like that happen. I swore a couple times because the stove made me mad. Like, it's just sitting there. As Randy would say, it's just being, Gayle. It's just a stove. But, just to say, it just shifted when I started to say, I won't. I just won't. And am I good with my won'ts? And if I'm not, then I need to shift. So to say I can't get up in the morning to do my spiritual practice, yes, you can. You won't. And that's okay. That's yours. Just own it. I remember when I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the practitioners, and I was a practitioner at the time, we were all on retreat, and we had invited in a facilitator. And we were talking about, let's get up in the morning and do a spiritual practice together online. And I said, let's get up at 6 o'clock. And somebody said, yeah, I'm retired. I'm not getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And the facilitator very gently said, well, you're retired. It doesn't mean that you're dead. Or, what does what does one have to do with the other? You could still get up. Retired people get up early. They might go to bed at 4 in the afternoon, but they get up early. And so just to be present with, if you're not doing a spiritual practice and you're saying to yourself, I don't have the time, then I would reverse that to say, I won't make the time. And this isn't a scold, or if it is, I'm talking to myself. This is just an awakening to realize there are 24 hours in a day. The same 24 hours that Bill Gates has, I wish I could think of his name, the guy that started Virgin Airlines. Richard Branson, I don't think that man sleeps. He gets a lot done in his days. He doesn't, I don't know what his life's like, except that he's like a little full of energy. I should write to him and ask him if he's got a spiritual practice and where he fits that into that packed day. But to take the time. And because the thing about spiritual practice, it's an inside-out job, right? If you want peace, you need to be peaceful within. It was interesting because somebody said recently to me that, when it says that you have to love yourself first, and it was misconstrued in before you can love others is how she saw it. And I didn't respond at the time, but that's not the response. People can love you even when you don't love yourself. Or, no, excuse me, you can love others and leave yourself out of that equation. If you don't love yourself, then yes, people will love you, and they'll love you on their terms. Because every place that you feel you're not good enough to be loved, or that you don't deserve this in a relationship, or whatever that is, that will show up for you. Because relationships are, if there are places to be filled in our life, we attract people that can fit into those little places, those little nooks and crannies to make a whole. And the truth is, when you're dancing with the beloved, with the divine, you don't need that. If you love yourself so much, nobody can come fill you up. Not a person or a place or anything, because you're already it. And so what that person is just a compliment. Icing on the cake, if you will. A way to say, yes, I love myself so much. This person showed up in my life. Right? 50 years it took for him to show up. Where the heck were you, by the way? You were, yeah. So, I make jokes, and it's important. It is important for us to have a spiritual practice, to feel at one-ment with ourselves so we can feel at one-ment with others. Now, I will tell you, I am not perfect at feeling at one-ment with everybody. I have my stuff and my spiritual, oh my goodness, if I didn't have a spiritual practice, could you imagine? I can, and I don't like that person, so stand back. But just to know we're all going to have things that are going to show up because we are human, every single one of us, having spiritual beings having a human experience, and we need to own that. What spiritual practice does is make that human experience more livable. More, if we all did spiritual practice, my desire, my prayer, when I do my prayers, is that instead of people doing this and getting further and further apart, we start to find that common ground to come closer and closer together. We don't necessarily have to like each other. What I would like to see is that we respect each other. And I think that comes when you have a deep connection with the God within, so you can feel and know that everybody you see is also God in form. And so I want you to just kind of be with that, and we're going to do a ritual here. And if you're online, I ask you to get a candle. And hopefully everybody has already heard this. This is not going to come as a shock. And maybe for some of you, this will be the first time, and so I apologize. If this is the first time you're getting this news, my heart goes out to you. But last week, I got a call from Carol Batt telling me that Todd Freefield, sorry, that's somebody else I know, Todd Faulkner, who was a practitioner here at Genesis, he went to CSL Seattle, he goes to Unity up in Linwood, had a massive heart attack and died. And the first thing that hit me, other than the fact that I will certainly miss him beyond belief, is how quickly that changed everybody's life that knew him. Michael was Todd's partner and had just been down to Palm Desert. Like 4 days ago, he'd posted pictures on Facebook. And then to get a call that your whole life has changed in an instant, it makes you take a breath. Or at least it did me. To take a breath and really appreciate our life exactly as it is in this moment. Because this is what we've got. Each and every one of us. And it really puts into perspective everything that I complain about. It's just nonsense, right? It's just life. And one of our own doesn't have the opportunity to complain about anything anymore. And that breaks my heart. And so what we're going to do is, if you don't know Todd, or if you didn't have the blessing of knowing Todd, then you can come up and say a word of peace or something for the world. What we're going to do, and I will tell you when to come up, is we're going to light a candle, and each of us are going to say a word or a sentence that reminds us or makes our heart sing about Todd Faulkner. And like I said, you can do this at home with us, and if you didn't know Todd, then just be in the blessing and light a light for the world or something that moves you. Or maybe, like my dear friend Patrice, her father passed away recently, so Patrice and David could light a candle for her dad. So I'm going to start, and then I'm going to do Christine S. Young, and then I'm going to have you come up, and only one person on the stage at a time. And when you do this, face out to the camera, because you're going to be doing it without a mic, and say it so hopefully a little louder. Bernie will have no problem with that, but some of the rest of you might, especially with our masks on. So, and then keep your candle lit. So for me, many of you don't know that if it hadn't been for Todd, Paul and I wouldn't have been able to buy our house. That he loaned us the money because all of a sudden we were ready to sign, and they said, you need to come up with this amount of money, and I was like, how does that happen? And so out of the graciousness of this man's heart, he loaned it to us. He didn't gift it to us. We paid him back, but he didn't have to do that. And to me, that spoke mounds about who he was and why he was here. He was, not just because he did that for me, and it wasn't really about the money. It's because without question, he wanted to be of service. And that's how he showed up in my life. And I guess the other thing I remember about him is I can't think of a time that I've ever seen him not smile.
Energetic, joyful, and playful.
Go sit down so somebody else can come up. Thank you.
Yeah, for me, Todd was always there. He's always given me permission to hug him, which allowed me to move forward and given myself permission to hug everybody else. When I first came here, I was kind of quiet. I know that's hard to believe, but Todd was one of those people that just brought things out. As Gayle said, he always had a smile on his face. I can hear him giggling right now. What I know is that he was a beautiful soul, and he did care about how we all felt. He did care about that it was a better place to be here. And I love him. I miss him. I miss hearing. I can hear his voice in my head right now, and it's so comforting. And I bless him, and I have one more thing to give to him. So if you would hold that just for a second. I embrace you, Todd, and I
So if you choose not to come up, which is fine, I'd still like you to light your candle, so you could just light it with somebody around you. One of the things that I know to be true is through this process, we don't know when we're going to be able to really say goodbye to Todd. So I just wanted to do something today to honor that. I'm sure that there will be something magnificent, probably in the spring or the summer, for all of us that knew him. This song, I can't even remember when New Thought churches started to sing it, and there's New Thought churches out there that still sing it. I love this song because I don't sing it every Sunday. You know, I save it for those times that I want my heart to remember. So if you want to stand up, and we're going to sing
Let
Thank you.
there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
blessings on your journey, Todd.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. is love, and his gospel is peace. Chains shall he break, for the slave is a brother, and in his name all oppressions shall cease.